This is Dominic Singh at the Whirly Bugger Fly Shop. We're back with another fly tying video for our quarantine series. This is a very special streamer fly that fishes excellent on the Yakima River as a sculpin imitation. It's pretty unique in the way that the hook is placed. As opposed to tying the strip down onto a hook and then running a strip over, the braid actually goes through the leather of the rabbit strip here multiple times. Follows the leather the entire way, so you get a full articulation in the fly here. And you also have the option of changing out the hook if it ever becomes dulled, just through opening the sloop up and taking the hook out. So this is an excellent fly for swinging, stripping anywhere, big trout, bass, a lot of options for this fly, so hope you enjoy this video. Right, to start this fully articulated streamer fly, going to build pretty much an articulation using this rabbit strip. And the hook is going to follow through the entire strip following the leather and come out at the very tip. So there's no shanks involved on the actual articulation. It moves freely with the strip, and that stinger hook is perfectly placed for those tail striking trout. So to start this, I'm taking the rabbit hide, leather first there, and a bodkin. You want to poke the first hole as close to the end as you can without ripping the strip. Just puncture it really well there, and then fold the strip over the leather side out. So the needle is digging through the fur now, and try to poke that exactly in the middle of that leather strip again there. So that needle's coming out on both sides now. Now pull that needle back and work in another puncture mark a little further down. And basically you can keep doing this as long as you want the body of this fly to be. I typically shoot for my sculpins to be around 3 inches in length. You can do a little longer or shorter if you like. But wherever you want that last puncture mark to be, I leave it quite a bit longer there. You want it to be coming out on the leather side. Poke the bodkin all the way through there. Pull it out quickly, and then take a bobbin threader and stick the wire through all the holes in the strip there. So now I'm going to take a Daiichi trailer hook like this, or a Gamakatsu octopus hook. And this one I've already strung up with some about 8 to 10 pound test braid, really thin. You want it just to be able to swing freely with the leather there. And I've just doubled that over the hook, pushed the doubled end over through the loop and over the eye. Make a connection there, and I tied it off here just so I can thread it a little easier. And stick the braid through the threader here and pull that all the way through the strip as well. So now what I have is an articulated trailer hook that just follows the leather of that strip. It can completely move freely, but it's also stiff enough to where it won't foul every time you cast. So now I'm ready to actually get to the tying part, starting with a 1-inch shank. This is a lightning strike shank. Flymen's are also very good. You could also just use a large saltwater hook for this and cut it off, whichever you prefer. This one doesn't leave a jagged edge though, with the cutting of the wire. So it's a little nicer to work on a shank. Get a good thread base going. I'm using a 140 denier UTC. Just anything that's thick enough to lash in lead eyes, really. So I'm going to start with tying in the braid here. You can tie that in very loosely at first and still adjust the length of the fly. So I'm going to separate the hair here and just throw a lash over the rabbit strip where I want that to be. Right, now that I have everything in position here, I can fold that strip back, and you want to lash the braid down really well so that hook won't ever pull out. What I basically do is just run it up once and then twist the braid around the thread like this, and then hide that under the body, tie it down flush. If you want it to be extra strong, you can add a little fly tire cement. And now that hook won't go anywhere. So now I'm going to add a little throat to this fly as well. These sculpins, when they're agitated, they get a lot of blood building up in their gills, kind of have a little red flash behind their fins. So I use a little bit of Senyo's laser dub here. Just kind of rip it apart so it's even. Going to add that to the bottom here. It's a very loose wrap to get it splayed out nicely. Tie it back. It's fully secured. Now I'm going to tie in the eyes. Now I'm using the metallic fluorescent orange lead eyes in the large size. Tie this in any weight you want. This color looks especially good on Sculpin though. Let's get that secured nicely. A lot of wraps on all sides, a few figure eights, and all the way around. A little glue. Now we're ready to tie in the fins. And for these I use some olive grizzly marabou. So I just have 2 of these selected. I'm going to pull the stems off, splay them out on both sides here. Loose wraps that they're sticking out horizontally. Tie the stems down. So now I have a very good Sculpin profile already with those splayed out pectorals, nice red spot at the bottom. And you can add some flash as well if you like. You could add this at any step in this. I try to add it kind of where I know it's going to be splayed out a bit and get full movement. So after these fins, I'm just going to add a couple strands of this copper flashabou. This is the speckled copper. Really, really excellent color for this. Just 2 strands or so, looped on top, tied down, pulled back. That'll add some nice flash and movement. And off the side. Now you're ready to make that Sculpin head. And for this, I like to bulk it up a lot. I just wrap that rabbit strip, full leather on there. Wrap that over, under the eyes if you like there. Bulk it up even more. And then, just as it's coming up to the eye, wrap that, trim the leather off. And that way you don't get too much of a buildup when you're trying to finish the head off here. So lay down a lot of thread, make sure that's all secured. Then if you want to cover that thread up just a bit more and follow that Sculpin head, you can pull some of the rabbit fur off the strip here. Trim the leather. Tie it with the tips facing forward. Loop it in and spin it all the way around. Then fold that back. Bring the thread in front here. And just push everything back. Alright, now you're ready to finish it off however you like. I usually throw a few half hitches, and then if you can whip finish, it's also good there. And then finish the head off with some glue or UV resin, something to keep that thread from unraveling, keep it protected. You have some glue in the eye, it's useful to use these stems. Pull it through there, keep it clear. So what you're left with here is an excellent sculpin fly, great profile, a lot of movement, completely full range of motion in the tail, and that trailer hook is positioned perfect there for a swinging fly like that in front of the face of big trout. They can just nip that tail, get perfectly hooked in the corner of the mouth. And a nice small hook like this, size 6 for a 3 or 4 inch fly, really takes it easy on the fish, doesn't harm them, keeps big hooks away from areas that are sensitive. So excellent fly on the river, can be sized up or down depending on the fish you're fishing for, different weights. Just a general concept as well with the tail here can be applied to a lot of different swinging flies. So I hope you enjoyed watching this, and if you'd like to tie this fly, all the materials will be listed on our site. You can call into the shop here or order online, and we hope that you give this pattern a try and have fun fishing it.